October 8, 1978, in the Italian city of Turin, an unprecedented event took place. The Shroud of Turin, one of the most mysterious objects in the Western world, was finally going to be examined by scientists. For 120 hours, the Shroud of Turin Research Project, or STURP, would run thousands of tests on this sacred 14-foot piece of linen, believed by many to be the burial cloth of Jesus Christ.
I think I can come very close to proving that it was used to bury the historic Jesus.
One of the leading members of the STURP team was Ray Rogers, a highly respected chemist from the Los Alamos National Laboratory. Rogers was a man of science, not God, and yet he was absolutely captivated by the shroud. For him, it was a great mystery waiting to be unraveled.
I don't believe in miracles that defy the laws of nature.
The scientific journey that brought Rogers and dozens of other scientists to the Shroud of Turin began with an amateur photographer, Secondo Pia, who in 1898 took the very first photo of the shroud. A photo that revealed something no one had ever seen. On the shroud was very faint, but Pia's photographic negative brought a face into stark relief. It was the first real evidence there was more to the shroud than the naked eye could see, and it caused an uproar.
He's immediately accused of fraud, immediately accused of cheating, lying, and manipulating this. It's a fake. And it wasn't until 1931 when Giuseppe Henriet is allowed to photograph the shroud for the second time, gets the same results, of course. The world of science suddenly looks at the shroud and says, well, wait a minute, maybe we should look at this closer.
But when a picture of the shroud is placed under the analyzer, something remarkable happens.
All of a sudden, we're seeing contrast that has something to do with height and depth, real distance. The nose has a prominence, the cheeks roll off, the hair has a shape to it and is rounded. The whole image has dimension to it.
Ray Rogers' tests found that there were no pigments, no dyes, no binding agents typical of paint of any kind on the main body of the shroud, meaning the shroud could not have been painted or drawn. But the most fascinating revelation of all was the story told by the bloodstains on the shroud. When someone is tortured, as the Bible tells us Jesus was during his crucifixion, red blood cell walls are ruptured, releasing hemoglobin into the body. The hemoglobin is quickly broken down, creating high levels of bilirubin, and the wounds begin to clot. STURP's analysis showed the stains on the shroud were these blood clot secretions with extraordinarily high levels of bilirubin, exactly consistent with the trauma of crucifixion. Then there was the ultraviolet fluorescence photography that revealed one more incredible clue hidden from the naked eye.
You can visually see these serum stains around the blood stains that were never visible until our team photographed the shroud with UV fluorescence photography approximately 2,000 years after this man ostensibly was killed.
Serum is the liquid component of blood. Composed mostly of water, the stains were invisible on the shroud until ultraviolet light made them appear fluorescent. Ray Rogers and the STURP team finished their research on the Shroud of Turin with more questions than answers. For if this was not a painting, how had the image formed on the cloth? If the blood was real, whose was it? And how and when had that man died? 2,000 years ago, the Gospels tell us the Roman Empire crucified Jesus of Nazareth. His battered body was then wrapped in a simple burial shroud. For centuries, many believed this 14-foot piece of linen was that cloth, even though there had been very little evidence to substantiate that claim. In 2005, Just 5 weeks before losing his battle with cancer, Rogers published the last paper of his distinguished career.
Don't believe in miracles, no way.
At the end of his life,
I'm coming to the conclusion that it has a very good chance of being the piece of cloth that was used to bury the historic Jesus.